Hello. Today's video I'm going to show an integration that we have done between coreBOS and React Admin. React Admin is very nice tool. Let's see if I can find the web site. Okay, this is the project. This is the GitHub project, and this is the website. React Admin is a very nice tool that's a framework where you can create a nice front end to any backend, any REST, usually REST driven database backend. So what we did was create a few tools. We have a React Admin data provider that connects to coreBOS and does all the things that coreBOS needs to get information in and back into the React Admin format that it expects. And then we created some other tools to make it kind of easy. React Admin is really nice. The framework, it besides the UI, it gives you high-level abstractions about how to show lists and detailed views. Very similar concepts to the coreBOS-like way of doing things. So we integrated that, and it's a good point to start any kind of portal project or kind of standalone web service project where you're using all the information and all the workflows and all the power that coreBOS gives you in the back end with a different front end. Okay, so what we did here was we also have an authentication provider, which is a library that you can download, and it actually connects to coreBOS using the standard coreBOS way of working, and logs in authenticates the users for you. So I'm logging in here. I'm going to log in to this demo site I have here with the admin user and the access key, just like any normal web service. Okay, so I'm logging in as the admin user, and okay, let's go here first. Here we have a dashboard where we can actually implement any sort of things that we want. I implemented a global search which goes to coreBOS and searches for the string between the modules that I have activated, which are accounts, contacts, and projects and leads. As you can see here, it shows me some information. This information is actually coming from the backend, from the coreBOS install I have, and the title. Okay, if you click on it, it takes you to the record. The title, the subtitle, and the text here is actually coming from the profile of each module. Okay, so here in the coreBOS install, when you go to the profile for the organization, for example, let's go here, which is probably the one I'm using. Here, if I edit this profile and I go to the organizations, for example, here on each field I have this little icon here which tells me if this field is to be shown in the title, in the header, or in the body of the message. Okay, so depending on the settings that you click here, you can actually indicate in this coreBOS portal what field you want to use as the title, what field as the subheader, and what field as information. Okay, it could be taken a little further because ideally we could have more than one text in the field in the body here, which should be able to concatenate them and do some other magic. But the goal of this project for me was to actually show the developers that need to use this how all of this information can be retrieved dynamically from coreBOS, where coreBOS is saving the information, and kind of how you would actually do this in a real project. Okay, so it's just an initial layout, and besides, my knowledge of React is kind of short, so those little details are very time consuming for me when I'm sure that somebody that knows React could do them in no time at all. Okay, so this is the dashboard, and then we have, let me bring over my editor so we can see a little bit of how that looks. I'm going to open up the pages and the app.js. Okay, this is all React Admin kind of thing. So here you see that I am loading in the React Admin object. I'm loading the dashboard. with the data provider that we have and the authentication provider that we have. We also support translations, although many of the translations are coming from the back end also. And then you have the resources, the things you want to show on the menu. Okay, I want to show accounts, contacts, projects, and leads. I need, because there's a dependencies between accounts, contacts, and leads. So to be able to show these detailed views, I need this one, but I don't want to actually show leads on the front end, so it's just here as a resource. And then you can see that I have for the list view, the show view, the detail view, the create view, and the edit view, and an icon. I have created these objects: CB list guesser, CB show tab guesser, and show guesser, and create. Okay, these objects will actually go to coreBOS and see for the accounts module what fields are available to the user that just logged in, and show them different fields depending on the user. Okay, so it's all dynamic, totally dynamic, and all of the logic is in all of these objects. Okay, so let's see how that looks. If I go to accounts, it automatically shows me a list view with all the columns and all the rows, and very kind of more or less coreBOS kind of thing. We have a search, we have some filters. I'll go into those next. If I go to contacts, I have kind of the same view, but again, it's showing me the different objects, rows, columns from the filter activated in the contacts module. And then I did the projects module, where we also have basically the same thing. The idea is that if I come over here to my application and I go to the accounts module and I pick I don't know, not in, what is this, just two columns, kind of short, special fields. Okay, this one is nice. Special fields filter. This shows me the organization, the number, date, currency. Okay, it's a filter in coreBOS. If I edit this one and set it as the default filter, and I log out here and I log back in so that it reads the filters again by the module, as you can see, I have now it has noticed that in the backend for this user, the default filter is this one. So it retrieves that information dynamically. Okay, it's not hard coded anywhere. It's all really just kind of coreBOS kind of way of thinking. Okay, so that's kind of that easy to do. Obviously, we can change filters. We can do all of these kind of stuff. Now I can search. If I search here, hold on. If I search here, okay, if it does that correctly. If I get rid of this search, in this module, I also added the support for filters. The filters, it's actually showing me the filters that I have defined in coreBOS, and it actually will apply those conditions. So if you see here, I have 1,181 accounts, but if I apply the group condition filter, I get this icon here telling me that it's applied, and the search has changed to 455 records. If I go to the back end and I select the group condition, you'll see that I actually have 455 instead of the 1,181 I had before. So it's actually getting dynamically the information from the back end, the conditions also, applying them and using them to get the right records. And obviously I can search, which means that I am actually accumulating the conditions. Okay, so it's actually adding to this condition this other condition, exactly as would happen if I search that here in coreBOS. I suppose. Well, okay, I didn't have the condition and this and wrong field. Okay. Anyway, I have to check that also again. Okay, so that's working correctly. More or less, we have that kind of dynamic thing. Here, I'm going to go to contacts now, and I'm going to show the create button. We can actually edit, show, and create. If I click on a row, it takes me to the show, and in this case I see a list of all of the fields coming from coreBOS. Okay, it knows what type of field each one is, if it's a date, if it's an email. All of this information is coming dynamically from coreBOS because we have all the UI types over there and we know exactly what we need. Okay, that's the show. All of that's dynamic. If I edit, also again, it knows what type of field. For example, organization name is a field, is our UI type 10 to accounts, so it actually shows me the accounts I have available. I can start typing here and it will filter them on me, so for me, so I can actually search that kind of thing. Pick list, it's a pick list, and it knows the date is the date. I mean, it actually gets this information from the back end and applies the correct restrictions and validations and all the like. Okay, so that is working very well and very nice, very easy. It just does what it has to do. Create form is exactly the same, just empty, and we can do a whole bunch of things there too. And okay, so I'm telling you this because one of the things that we implemented here, if we go to the code, is that on the contacts module I have a CB create guesser, while on the accounts I have a CB create tab guesser. Okay, the two objects are a little bit different, and the logic is that here in contacts, as you can see when I go here, this applies also to the show guesser, edit guesser, show guesser, list guesser, while I have here the show tab guesser and the edit tab guesser. The thing is that if I go to an accounts module and I click on show, I have the information, instead of all straight down like I did before, I have them divided by tabs. These tabs are the blocks of the module. Okay, these are actually these blocks: this organization information, this custom information, this address information. So this is actually getting the information of the blocks dynamically and distributing the fields inside each block accordingly. If I edit this record, I have also the same distribution in the blocks with the fields correctly. All of this is dynamic, getting all the information from the do describe in the back end and the like. So so it kind of just works. You basically just plug in the right name, module name here, and what you want here, and it just works. You don't have to do absolutely anything. Let's do some other thing. I'm going to create here, and I'm going to show you that I'm creating a new account, and I'm going to try to create this account, and I'm going to put here test account, and I tab. As you can see, it says that it's wrong. The organization name must contain MEX. Okay, where's that coming from? Obviously from coreBOS. Again, here in the business maps we have a validation map for this module, validation map type. We have an accounts check validation, which is actually telling me that the account name must required and must contain MEX. So this is also dynamic. React Admin integration is actually going to the back end, looking for the validations and seeing what has to be done and what has to be applied. This works in general. If I add MEX here and try to save, it will say that I don't have an assigned to, because obviously that's mandatory. Okay, and let's try one, because I was looking for, okay, it actually created the record. Okay, let's give that a try. Okay, I was expecting something different, but okay, that means that if I come here now to my organization module and I already have and we do all, I have 1182, and if I go to the end of the list, I should have my test account MEX with this user created. Okay, so actually we can create, update is working also, delete is also working. If we delete this, we try to delete this record, we should be able to do that. Let's put MEX here, and if I select this one and delete it, it will be deleted in the background. This undo actually works also, and now if I try to reload this record, I get that the record has been deleted. Okay, so all of this is totally dynamic, and it just kind of works. What else? I would like to show you in the projects module I did a little bit more, because I wanted to just show that we can do some other stuff here. I used the React Admin aside property to add a hard-coded block here, And then I'm executing coreBOS questions. This is a coreBOS question. It's actually this coreBOS question, this workflow table. Okay, and I'm actually getting the table and I'm showing here the columns. Then I have a mermaid question, I have a ticket, a chart, and I have a number. Okay, so all of these are objects. This is actually the example here. The goal of that part was to actually see here that I extended the show. As you can see, I created another object, which is CB project, because I want this project to be a little different and special from the other modules, not just standard. So here I created this CB project class. It constructs on top of the CB show guesser. So basically I'm calling the same object, I'm just adding the aside property because I want those blocks on the right. And as you can see here on the right, this is actually just a div, hard-coded div, and we have this question object where we send in the ID of the question that we want to be rendered. This question object knows if the question is a number, if it's a chart, or whatever it needs to do, and it just gets all the information from the back end and paints this for you. Really nice and really easy. So mostly that is where I wanted to get the project. All the functionality more or less that we should need is implemented here. There is practically, as far as I remember, nothing really hard-coded. It's all dynamic, all getting the information from the back end, which is basically the goal that I wanted to achieve in this thing. Besides that, the project actually is pretty useful and works very nice. I mean, React Admin is a wonderful little plugin. They did a really good job, and congratulations for that. And I created this this project here in GitHub. This is all open source and available as usual. It's here in the GitHub coreBOS organization, React Admin portal, and here you can see that I have added two projects. One is the basic functionality and the other is advanced functionality. This is what would be what's missing actually. I mean, what else can we implement that I haven't implemented here, or what is missing about this project actually. I kind of documented all the things that we need to be do. Okay, add labels to Boolean fields, support coreBOS groups. Groups are not supported. Reduce the number of validation calls. It validates every time you add a letter or a character, which is I suppose we need some debounce there. A lot of those little things, as I was saying before, that somebody with good React knowledge, which should be really easy to do, but that it would take me a lot of time to get working, and I have better things to do besides. Really don't want to dedicate my time to React. Multi-pick list. Okay, we don't show them correctly because React Admin expects to get an array, and we are sending a specifically formatted separation format that coreBOS supports. Actions on the detail views, I didn't do any actions. I didn't support that. Here we should have the buttons up on top. Besides the edit, we have to go to coreBOS and dynamically get the other actions that we need to do. Same happens with the list view. Here in the list view, if I select a whole bunch, I should get more actions here with the mass actions and things that I can do from the back end. Shouldn't be difficult because coreBOS supports the web service, supports all the business actions. You can launch, you can do all kinds of things, you can get the buttons, you can get, so I mean it's just a question of implementing it, I think. Hide ID field, that's around somewhere on the detail view. You can see the ID field, it's not necessary. Implement, create netted support for image fields. Image fields work on the detail view. If I don't know if I have a contact here. Let's do one real quick, and let's edit this one, and let's add an image here. Let's add, for example, this one, and I save. Okay, now I have the image here, and if I go to this contact and we detail view it, I should see the image. Okay, I get it, but we can't save it. I dedicated some time, but it was getting complicated and I didn't get it, so I just okay, I mean we can do that. Number currency format. Okay, all of the formatting. Okay, that's we'll see about the formatting and some things there need to be taken care of. As you can see, the list is not very big. We are kind of close. And then we have some advanced filters, advanced functionality, which I put the field dependencies, which React Admin supports. They have a way of doing it. We just have to get the information from the backend, the maps, and apply them. And master detail modules would be nice to have. Here, let's do something else. I'm going to log out, and I'm going to log in with another user with test DMY, and let's go here and get the key for that user, test DMY, and I'm going to get the access key from here, and I'm going to log in with this user. And what happens now is that this user basically has all the information also, but if we find a date somewhere, let's just go in here. If we find a date, I should have day, month, and year, because coreBOS takes care of that. coreBOS actually sends you the day. It knows that this user has that format and uses that. That's why, I mean, it's not really totally supported. I haven't really tested it, but we have to make sure that depending on the user, we send the right information to the back end, and also the same with the numbers. Another interesting thing is that I implemented the permissions. If we come here to and we use the no create user, the no create user is a user that I have here for the unit test that doesn't have permission to create nor edit records. So if we enter the application, the portal, with this user, notice that all of a sudden here I do not have the create button nor the edit button. Okay, I actually cannot edit these records anymore. Okay, so dynamically coreBOS portal has gotten the information about the permissions for this user and applies that accordingly. Okay, so the permission system is also kind of implemented. Note that that obligated me to make some changes in the way we work usually, and that is something maybe we should change in the future. When we start a project like this, you start entering with admin user, and you start developing with the admin user because it's easier. Admin can do everything, and they can have no actually permissions, problems, or restrictions. So you just keep on going, and you make the bulk of the work, and it just, you know, kind of easy. Then you start using it with normal users, and you start getting all sorts of problems because the permission system kicks in, and there are things you can't do, and you start getting errors because you actually can't access certain fields. That happened to me actually here. I started with the admin user, got most of the work done, and then I started using normal users to access and try, and I ran into the problem basically about the users, where you can't, the web service doesn't actually let you get information about the users. Just the users you actually have access to, or that you share, that user that's accessing has access to. So I had to make some changes and the like. So anyway, as I was saying, that's working. That more or less is in place. Everything is ready. So I leave the project in a pretty good point to actually start fork it and start creating other utilities and other programs that can help certain specific use cases from the users and the necessities that they may have. If you need anything, let me know. I'll try to help. The project, as I said, is open source. It's here on GitHub. You can download it, you can fork it, and you can help you know, with anything, errors, pushing forward the pending things, whatever you need. I will try to help and see if we can actually use this as another alternative to the many other things that coreBOS is capable of doing. Hope that helps. Enjoy.